पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः. Taking care of the unconscious mind is an important sadhana for the study of Vedanta, and even if you're not interested in studying Vedanta, for emotional maturity and self-growth. And when we are confronted with the reminders of the past, Vedanta itself tells how to gracefully overcome that. In the Mandukya Upanishad, the Gaudapadacharya Karika, Gaudapadacharya is the grand guru of Adi Shankara. There he talks about some basics of sadhana, like laye sambodhayet chittam. If you fall asleep during meditation, the only thing to do is to wake up. Call yourself, recall yourself, come back. And then if the mind goes wandering, what would be a nice snack to have after meditation if the mind starts going there? Vikshiptam cha punashamayet. If there is vikshepa, distraction, then you bring it back, resolve the mind. Then he says also, sakashayam vijaniyat samapraptva na vichalayet. Know that the mind is along with the unconscious. I mean, even though the concept of unconscious mind, the credit was given to Freud for this, Gaudapadacharya and all the sages knew about it thousands of years ago. The mind is there along with the unconscious. Let it not bother you. Once you get some level of mastery in the sadhana, here we are talking of the meditation, in the meditation, then don't try to stir it up. Don't try to think, what are some of my issues? Let me think. And if you do that, then definitely those issues will catch you. And without a doubt. And then also from the past, it's not just unpleasant memories, but pleasant memories may also come and hijack the present. Do not allow it to do that, says the grand guru of Adi Shankara. Nasvadayet rasam tatra. Some enjoyable memories would come. Oh, before the pandemic, what a lovely holiday I had. Some nice memories will come. However, that's a distraction right now to being here and now. And there is a deeper place to go when one is not bothered either by the pleasant or by the unpleasant. And I started the talk earlier in the last session by talking about no bhakti, and if there is no bhakti, there is no mukti. So this is a continuation, part 2 as it were, of that discussion. And so here the resolution of the pains and sorrows just dealing with the everyday world needs Bhagavan, needs the presence of an altar at which one can bow down, which can become a solace for the whole host of inner children. That it's like running a daycare center within. So many children abandoned, and you can't even adopt them out. Somehow they all belong to you, and you can't even outsource them, you can't put them out. What to do? and the only thing to do is to love them up, and that's a tall order, because who is being asked to love up whom? Well, the abandoned, sad, mad, truncated, frozen aspect of oneself is the one needing to be loved up. And who is the one who is asking, who is the one who is going to love these entities up? That one is the one who is identified with the pain, identified with the unconscious. Very, very difficult. So therefore, one needs a foster parent to learn these parenting skills, and one needs a break. And therefore what? Therefore Bhagavan. Make Bhagavan your babysitter, because definitely the significant other is not going to deal with your inner children, because they'll have their own inner children, and also it's a bad bargain, because if you give them your inner children to take care of, they will give you theirs. And like many things, it is cute at the beginning and then it gets very, very annoying afterwards. So therefore, invoke Bhagavan in the form of the babysitter, the mother and the father of the universe. And in the Hindu tradition that is possible, because everything is Bhagavan. We are seeing everything is Bhagavan. This Atma is everything, everything is Brahman. And everything is, in which all devas, all lokas, all pranas, all pranis, everything is there. So everything is Bhagavan. Bhagavan. So therefore, we have the freedom to invoke Bhagavan in any name or form. And so, this is a very nice opportunity to say, you run this daycare center of all these complaining, recalcitrant babies within me. And I don't even know how many of them there are. Every day a new one pops up. The complaining one, the whistleblower, the inner cop, and the one who judges oneself, and the one who cannot be compassionate, and the one who is a doormat, doesn't have boundaries, and the one that is that is bullied, and the one that is whining all the time, the one that is resentful. All these things, there is a whole society. Talk of overpopulation, it is within. Yeah, there's this whole society of beings. How to deal? This is very difficult. That's why we need an altar of surrender. This is where bhakti makes a debut. And so therefore, give it all to Bhagavan. And in the Hindu tradition, this is possible because, we don't have the concept of blasphemy. This is a religion. This is not even, it's a tradition where the blasphemy is totally absent. No heresy, no blasphemy. You can scold Bhagavan. What were you thinking when you gave me this kind of a mind? What were you thinking? Take it back. You can say that. And that interestingly becomes a prayer. It becomes a prarthana, it becomes an invocation. Bhagavan says, okay, now we are talking. What do you mean take it back? I have been holding it all this time. You haven't been seeing it, that's all. You are just now awakening to this. You can say, take it back. And what kind of karma are you sending my way? All the good karma is going somewhere else, and all the difficult things, challenging things, everything is coming my way. Are you blind? This is actually said in one of the holiest chants that we chant every day in the Sri Rudram. Oh, you disgusting looking one. Oh, you blind to my cries and deaf to my, blind to my pains, deaf to my cries. Drape, andhasaspate, daridran nila lohita. It becomes one of the holiest chants because it is said with feeling. It is said with great feeling. And so it becomes an extremely important way of invoking Bhagavan. And what to do here? And this is exactly what to do, is to invite Bhagavan to be a part of one's everyday life, one's emotional life. And this is really Vedanta. And in the Sri Rudram, it begins with a very nice invocation. It says, Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. Unto Bhagavan in the form of Rudra, my namaskars. Namaste Rudramanyava Utota Ishave Namaha. Namaste Astu Dhanvane Bahubhyam Utate Namaha. Yata Ishu Shivatama Shivam Babhuvate Dhanuhu. And I see Namaste to you, and your arms seem awfully big. Looks like you have been working out at the celestial gym, oh Lord. And looks like they are very, very scary. These huge arms, like that comic, there is one Popeye character. He eats spinach and that goes straight to the arms. And so, like this, it looks like you have been working out. You are so strong. And those arms are capable of sending karma, bad karma, papa, my way. And so namaste to separately to each of your arms. And then I see you're carrying a bow. And namaste also to the bow. On the other shoulder there is a quiver of all kinds of arrows. Why is it called a quiver? Because it makes me quiver at the sight of it. That's why it is called quiver. And oh no, it looks like you're getting ready to take one of the arrows and string it onto the bow. And it looks like you are looking straight at me, oh Lord. And that arrow is directed against me. And so therefore, I pray, calm down that bow. Calm down the arrows. What's the hurry? Put that arrow back into the quiver. Do not make me tremble needlessly. Don't give me a heart attack. And besides, look at the neighbor on this side. They have been so bad, I tell you. And look at this one. They've been doing all kinds of nefarious activities, all kind of hanky-panky here. Direct your arrow and bow over there. It's not that only I have any papa. They have papa too. And that one over there has papa too. Why are you only after me? This becomes a prayer. A very celebrated prayer, full of feeling, full of, where the pain is out, where all the difficulties, especially in the earlier anuvakas. Anuvakas means chapters in the sections. All this is out. Do not direct your bow at me. Do not do this. Let me see your calm face. Let me see your smiling face for a change. Let me see that. Enough of this bow and arrow business. I want to just have some nice time, And so therefore, this is how it starts. But as the anuvakas, the sections proceed, there are 11 sections in the main mantra, in the main portion. And it is called Namaka. Namaka means where everything ends in Namaha, 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 Namaha. Therefore it is called Namakam. And so in these 11 sections, by the time you are through with section 4, then you start seeing the devotee undergoes a great change and starts seeing everything as a manifestation of Bhagavan. You are all the leafy trees and the temperate climates and the tropical climates. You are the desert. You are the camel in the desert. You are the oasis in the desert. Everything. So this is how one invokes Bhagavan, and for this Bhagavan has to become alive. Bhagavan is already sentient and alive, but we have to say it, that manifestation of Bhagavan, Ishta Devata, we have a very helpful concept in the Hindu Dharma where you can choose whichever form and function and avatara of Bhagavan to connect with. Very beautiful. And so that Ishta Devata, that chosen one, that chosen manifestation of Bhagavan has to come alive for you. And on its lap you put everything that you don't want, including all the children, It's whatever there are, whatever things you cannot deal with. And that is when the transformation happens. That is why it is called an altar of surrender, because it has the power to alter you. That's all. That is why it is called an altar. And then, equipped with this bhakti, one can lead one's life without any obstacles to gaining this knowledge. So that surrender, in the Yoga Sutras also it is featured very prominently. It is called Ishvara Pranidhana. Ishvara Pranidhana means a total surrender to Bhagavan. And that surrender doesn't mean you just, it's not something just for the name's sake. One has to cultivate it. It has to be felt deeply. It has to be understood. It's a surrender of understanding. And it's a surrender where nothing more is left. And then in the surrender itself, there is, in a way, there is a Vedanta expressed in one's daily life. Because who is the one who is surrendering? It is this limited entity, the one who says, I am limited, I am finite. And what is the altar of surrender? The altar of surrender is limitless. So the limited as though surrenders to the limit, the as though limited one surrenders to the limitless. And in this surrender, what happens? When the limited surrenders to the limitless is included in the limitless, and so there is no more limitations. That's why when we sing bhajans, when we are deeply engrossed in puja or even in a Vedanta class, there is an immersion. And in this immersion, the subject-object difference, for the time being, as a great grace, as an act of grace from Bhagavan and from the karma that you are doing, the subject-object difference gets fused. And because it gets fused, then there is an immersion. There is a instant samadhi-like experience. There is, in other words, a oneness. And that itself becomes an appetizer for this cognitive pursuit. For entering into the buffet of this cognitive pursuit that everything is me alone. At first everything is Bhagavan, and that Bhagavan is me. And the effect of that, of course, is the dessert. Madhu, madhu, madhu. Everything that sweetness is what one abides in and one imbibes, so to speak. And so this is, this bhakti. So the one aspect of this bhakti is this calling with fervor, calling with passion, calling out to Bhagavan to help, with sincerity, with passion and feeling. And then there is another side of this bhakti which expresses itself in action. And we talked about it earlier. So just to recap that is what is called karma yoga. And that is why when you go to, in most of the ashrams, the schedule is such that from morning to night, they make you do something. So we keep you busy. You don't have time to look this side or look that side. You are busy the whole day. Either there are classes, and then in between the classes, there is seva, and there are things to do. You are responsible for certain things. There are meetings, there is checking in, and then there are all these things needing to be done. And at the end of the day, you will be lucky if you remember your name. You have completely, you have become part of the ashram in a way. And that is a very, very important way of losing all these things which otherwise keep on dogging one all the time. Oh, I'm not enough, I've not done this, there's no time to think all this. And so, and then one is prayerfully doing everything, and the growth is happening, even if you think it is not. There is great growth happening, and inner growth. And so, actions that are worshipfully done are the best way to grow, because to embrace this knowledge. And before embracing this knowledge, one embraces oneself entirely without any problems at all, without any hesitation. There is a relative sense of self-acceptance in before one studies that the self is absolutely acceptable. This is a very, very important thing. And then, so this is what is needed to understand, to invoke Bhagavan, to understand that one is connected, and to have the Shraddha. Shraddha means trust. To have the trust that this is true, that I am one with Bhagavan. The Upanishad is not saying this to hoodwink me. This is really true. Why? Because we have saints in the tradition who have walked the path and who have talked and walked at the same time. They have walked the talk, they have talked the walk, everything they have done. We see such saints. And because of that, we know that this is not some kind of an abstraction. And here is where the distrust from childhood. Mother was a source of disappointment, father was a wet rag, and this one was like this and that one was like this. And so all this becomes the source of distrust. And one dares to trust again when one comes to Vedanta. And who to trust? Not Guru the individual, because then that will be a setup, but who to trust is Bhagavan. Bhagavan is who to trust, because we don't say Bhagavan is infallible. We say that which is infallible is Bhagavan. And so one trusts that this knowledge will be shown to me, and that this is not some kind of a concept. This is a reality, and this reality is what I crave. And may all the obstacles, especially the inner obstacles, go for me to assimilate this knowledge. Very, very important. And so this bhakti, and then accompanied by Shraddha, that trust, again that trust has to be regained and recultivated deliberately. Even though one may have been hurt many times, one may have been disappointed many times, leading one to think, moksha, how many people get it? Even in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kaschin mam vetti tatvatah. Means what? Out of thousands of people seeking me, one seeks me correctly. And then out of the thousands of people seeking me correctly, one gains me as the truth of himself or herself. This is not a statistic given by the Lord to make one disappointed. This is not a downer, not at all. This actually is supposed to be uplifting, because you are among those thousand people. You are among the rare people who are giving your life for this knowledge, who are committed, who want to listen, who want to change, who want to have an inner transformation to see yourself as non-separate from Ishvara. So it is meant to boost the person, not to bring them down. But the mind, along with the ahankara in its twisted way, thinks, oh, one deflates like a balloon. Oh, out of the thousands of people, and oh, I don't stand a chance. What moksha? Who will it help? And what is this moksha? I have self-knowledge. I am free of sorrow. Can I put it on my resume? Not at all. Will somebody hire me if I say I have CV, curriculum vitae? Okay, what are you going to put? I'll put that I have self-knowledge. I have studied in an ashram for an extended period of time under the tutelage of these teachers, and I have self knowledge. Ask me any question: A for Atma, B for Brahman, C for Chit, D for Dharma. I will answer. They will say, "What is this? What is this?" You know. They will ask you other questions. They will say, "Do you know Oracle?" "No, I am the Oracle because I am non-separate from Bhagavan." Nobody is interested. So therefore, you see, self-knowledge is not popular because it is not understood. If it were totally understood without fear, without distrust, without resistance, it would be the most popular thing. That's why it is called Madhuvidya, because it is sweet. It is like the nectar of many flowers. Each flower is an Upanishad. And a big flower in the middle is the Bhagavad Gita. Everything. And then what, of course, if there are so many fragrant flowers, the bees will be drawn to it. But the bees have to be vivekis. They have to have viveka, discrimination, dispassion, all these things that we learn, preparatory steps they have to have. And only then they will be in the they will be attracted to the scent, the fragrance of the flowers. So that is, any knowledge, is presupposes some qualification. Except KG, although even these days, if you want to admit a child to kindergarten, it will be made to recite some poems and nursery rhymes even before it had set foot into the classroom. So there's always some kind of prerequisite. So the prerequisite for the study is bhakti, shraddha, focus, samadhanam, and a willingness to grow. A willingness to grow. And forbearance. That is what it takes. And equipped with that, one can really understand this and enjoy this as the truth of oneself. So the second mantra that we have just studied leaves us with an interesting conclusion, which has to be grown out of. It's not that the conclusion is wrong, but it is incomplete. It says that asmin atmani, in this atma which was talked about as everything, as Brahman, sarve devaha, sarve lokaha, sarve pranaha, sarve ete atmani samarpitaha. Meaning all the lokas, bhuhu, bhuvaha, suvaha, mahaha, tapaha, janaha, satyam, atala, vitala, sutala, rasatala, dharatala, mahatala, patala. This is 7 up, 7 down. All these worlds are weaved into this, are connected to and resting in this Atma. All the lokas, all the devas, Indra, Agni, Varuna, all the celestials, and then pranaha, all the things that breathe, draw their sustenance from this alone and rest in this alone. When you say that, it is very nice to hear and assimilate, but at the same time, it leaves one with a duality. There is an ashraya, a resting place, and then there is an ashrita, the one that is resting. And how can you say it is Advaita? You cannot. And therefore, the third verse is going to come to clarify that the nature of the things that are resting, and there is no rester rested, and the nature of the things that are projected as this manifest reality are at best what we call, cannot be affirmed and cannot be denied. They are what is called mithya, like even the pot, which is dependent completely on clay for its existence and for its very being. and without clay, it would just die, it would not be existent at all. So, this kind of an existence is going to be talked about in the next mantra to clinch the whole teaching. But first, a little segue by the Upanishad herself. Idam vai tan madhu dadhyang atharvanah ashvibhyam uvacha tad etat rishihi pashyan avochat. This is not Dadhyang talking. The Rishi Dadhyang finished talking and the Shruti is giving the connection. Idam tu, idam vai, this indeed, tan madhu, called Madhuvidya, Dadhyang, the name of the sage, belonging to the Atharva Veda, Atharvanaha, belonging to the lineage of the Atharva, Rishi Atharva. And taught this Ashvibhyam, taught this to the Ashwins, Ashvibhyam, dual, taught this to the Ashwins, and Avochat, Uvacha, taught this to the Ashwins. The celestial twins were taught. And then what? And then when he taught them, he looked at them. And then he had to do a double take because they looked so alike. and then seeing that they looked like the spitting image of each other, then he said, Tad etad rishihi pashyan, seeing this, he said something very interesting. What did he say? Rupam rupam pratirupo babhuva tadasya rupam pratichakshanaya indro mayabhihi pururupam iyate yukta hyasya harayah shatadasha iti ayam vai harayah ayam vai dasha cha sahasrani bahuni cha anantani cha tad etad brahma apurvam anaparam anantaram abhahyam ayamatma brahma sarvanubhuhu iti Anushasanam. Very beautiful, extremely wonderful mantra. And then we will see that in the next. We will see that in the next session. And so this is the So one more session is left. Plenty of time to finish that. And here is the question. I prayed to Shiva and had visions of Krishna push into my mind, so I tried to push those images out. But then I felt the presence of Krishna one day, who felt very different than Shivji, and so I bought some pictures and statues of both in respect for them, and now my mind feels less focused at my altar because there are so many images. What to do? Are the visions simply testing, or is my mind playing tricks? Krishna is Shiva. I do know this, but I'm not sure why Ishvara is showing me both forms. I am a mere human, and my mind can my mind only focus on one form? Beautiful question. I appreciate your candor here in sharing this. The short answer is, right now, make 2 altars, one for Krishna, one for Shiva, that's all, and go to both the altars, offer your prayers, focus on Shiva at one altar, focus on Krishna at the other altar, and it is, your mind is not playing tricks. All is one and one is all. But Krishna has come into your life because I believe you need to play a little. So you just play, have fun, be light. Okay? Yeah. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you.